These are the kind of things how we make money in storage. One thing that I want to make sure you guys understand is I want you to be conscious of whether or not you're asking for money from somebody or if you're offering them an opportunity. If I show up to Ben's house and say, hey, Ben, dude, could I have some money? He's like, well, why? Why would I do you a favor, right? And that's sometimes, and it just is kind of the reality. That's sometimes how we approach banks and or private investors. Like, oh, Ben, will you do me a favor? I've got this deal. Will you please help me? I really want to do this storage thing and I need you. Man, that's desperate, right? And that's, I don't mean to say this in an ugly way, but there's a repulsion to that. Those of you ladies in the room know, and all of the gentlemen know as well, that when you chase the girl, she runs away. And when you're kind of cool and aloof over at the far end of the bar, you guys might find your way to the middle of the bar at some point, right? But if you're desperate and they sense it, your opportunity to get that money is probably very low. And so this isn't about manipulation either. This is about you getting in the right mindset and understanding the value that you have. Let me ask you a question. Who is the bank's customer? Who is the bank's customer? We are. Do you go into Starbucks and hope they give you a coffee? Or do you expect them to if you have the thing that they need in order to give you that coffee? The money, right? If you have the deal, the bank wants you as a customer, and you need to position yourself as that person. That requires confidence. It also requires competence. You can't go in and fake it. You heard from Cody, he's way too sharp for you to trick him, right? You've got to know your stuff. But what the bank wants is they want you as a customer. What the private lenders want is they want to put their money to work. Do they want to put it to work just anywhere? No, they wanted to put it to work where they know they're going to get a strong return, the strongest return they can get with the lowest perceived risk. And so your job is to show them, here are the rewards, look how big they are, and here are the risks, look how minor they are. One of the things Cody said that I loved was, and we'll talk about this a little later, preempt the objections. So we're not going to hide the vulnerabilities of our deal and hope nobody notices them. We are going to shine a giant spotlight on them in the beginning and then overcome those objections through our process, if you will. All of that to say, prepare to be interviewed, right? Like, you need to know your industry facts. And these are just random ones, right? If a banker has concerns about the security of your deal and they're on the greener side, they may not know that storage defaults literally less often than any other mortgage-backed asset on the planet. The number, I don't know if this is still, the last number I knew was 8%. That is less frequently than the primary residence that we all live in and depend on for a roof over our head. My house is more likely to go into foreclosure, not mine necessarily, but most houses are more likely to go into foreclosure than a storage facility. That 8% is actually quite inflated because a lot of times what happens with the larger loans, they're bundles, right? And there's a plaza and there's a strip mall and a retail center and a storage facility all under one loan. And one of the other assets goes down and it takes the whole ship with us, and that is a ding against the storage asset. The truth is, in that instance, the storage asset probably prevented the default for a period of time and kept the other assets afloat. And so it's a very risk-averse asset to invest in, and your private investors need to know this, especially if it's your uncle or your grandfather or whatever the case may be. If it's friends and family, these are the kind of things that will help them get comfortable with how we make money in storage.